Okay, we're live. Hey guys, this is Sherry with LexSaLu Designs, and today we are going to do just a super quick little video. I've had a lot of friends ask about how I make bows. That can be a really tricky thing to do. There's so many different techniques. There's so many different ways, just different ways of going about it. And I'll tell you this right off. I need a lot of practice. Bows are something that you just have to do, just repeat in order to get it down. And I still need a ton of practice, and just when I think I've got it mastered, I see a different design and I really want to learn that one. So, you know, it's just something that you can continue, build your skills, you can mix your ribbons, you can, you know, colors, textures, every single thing. You can just keep mixing and it always will give you a different result. So, I thought, well, today I'll just go ahead and show you guys quickly the way I do it. Now, I'm not saying that this is absolutely the right way. I'm just saying it's how I do it, and I like the result that I get. So, I'll start out. I have a few examples of different ones that I've done. And I'll show you these, and then I'll show you what I'm about to do. This is a super simple little bow that you could do, and this one is just burlap, and these are actually just cuts of ribbon. They're not even the loops that, you know, a lot of times that's intimidating to people. It's kind of hard to get those loops in there, and to get them even and make them come out the way you want it to. So this, you know, if that is intimidating to you, this is a great way just to kind of have the illusion of a bow, but not have to go through the whole process of actually doing all of the loops. So this is a pretty cute little option. Can you see that? Okay. All right, so I'll put this one here. All right, another way, this one, I'm gonna go ahead and push you guys down so you can see this one. Now, this is not a wired ribbon. It's just, this is a burlappy type, more of a fabric type ribbon, and it is just tied in a way that it actually just looks like a bow, like you would tie on your shoes. And so, I think my camera got crooked, guys. I'm sorry. Is that better? Okay, there we go. So that is just a super simple option if you're trying to work with a ribbon that does not have a wire. That may be a good simple little option to use, and it's just really cute. Here is another one I've done. When I talk about mixing colors, textures, things like that, this is a good example of what I'm talking about. This is just a really simple, kind of like the loop-de-bows that you're used to seeing, but I've mixed in a burlap. So you've got like this chambray type wired ribbon along with a burlap, and it just gives a different effect. So you can kind of see a little variation in that, and I'm going to move this out of the way. So what we're going to go through today is, now my camera's crooked again. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so this is just kind of your classic loop-de-doop-de bow. I'm sure it's got a name. That's what I call it. It works. Okay, so this is what I'm going to make today. And this is really, it's simple. Once you get it down, once you've done it a few times, it is a simple bow to make. And I'm going to show you a little trick that's going to make it even simpler. So I'm going to push that out of the way. I've spoken before about a Bowdabra. Now that is like this little bitty tool that you can get at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, places, craft stores like that. I'll go ahead and push you down so you can see, and I'm going to adjust this. I don't know if I'm helping or making it worse by doing that, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is a Bowdabra. I don't always use this. I do sometimes. It just kind of depends my mood and what I'm working with. When I was a little girl, my grandmother, those of you who know me and know Mary Bassing, she had one of the most awesome gift wrapping, you know, techniques that in her time, it was pretty phenomenal. Anyway, bows were a big deal with her, and she taught me how to make this type of bow, like we're doing now, this one, when I was a little girl, and this thing didn't exist back then. So I learned how to make this just by hand and pinching it, twisting it, pinching it, looping it, twisting it. So I don't know what my grandma would think about this little tool right here, but I think it's pretty cool if you have trouble doing that whole pinch and twist and pull and twist and turn thing. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to give you, people have asked me, how do you do this with the Bowdabra? I'm going to give you just a little pinch of how I do it with this. Now, there's different ways. I've seen, you know, you can watch YouTube all day long and get different ways of doing things. And so I'm just going to show you what I do. this is the actual Bowdabra ribbon that comes along with it. You have to just purchase this separately once you run out of what comes in the package, but it's not expensive, and I generally end up using more than I probably should, but I'd rather have too much than not enough in the end. It makes it harder to tie off. So the way this little apparatus works is these center pieces, they separate. So as you're pushing your ribbon down in between here, it's going to separate and make space for your ribbon to go in there. And that's what's going to pinch it and hold it for you. So it's kind of like you have a third hand. Just makes it a little simpler. You can work with both of your hands instead of having to use one to hold it. Now mine is has an attitude about it, a little bit of an attitude. Okay, so you're going to slide this. It's not wired. I think maybe it has nylon cords inside. I'm not really sure exactly, but it does keep it shaped fairly well, as you can tell. Anyway, it's pretty sturdy. You can break it, but it's pretty sturdy for what it is. And I'm sorry I have the sniffles again, y'all. But you're gonna slide this down in here, and then just kind of tuck those little edges down under. And because it does keep its shape, it'll just kind of sit down in there. I'm going to use the same ribbon that I used for this other bow that I showed you as my example because I need another one of those. And so what we're going to do, now the most important part is to keep mindful of your ribbon itself. This one, you can kind of see it's got a sparkly pretty side. It's got a side that's not so much. So we want our sparkly pretty side. I'm sorry, I keep getting messages. Okay, so we want this side to always face outward. You can kind of tell, like if it were to be backwards, it would look this way and then it wouldn't look quite as good at all. So we want to keep in mind which direction it needs to go. So we're gonna put the pretty side down so that the good side will face outward. Now for this bow, I use my mat as a measuring tool. So I have it placed on the 15. So I want this bow, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right about 6 inches is where I want this bow to be on each side for the loops. So if my math serves me, so you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's where my loops will go. So you just start making your loops whatever size that you want them to be. Do your math. If not, if you're not a math person like me, you can just count. That was a joke. So anyway, I know that I'm gonna need to stop this on my number, so I'm gonna let's see. Well, you know what? Maybe I don't want it 6 inches. Hang on, guys. Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, no, that'll be a good size. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, measure it out where I want it to be. I think that's the right size for what I want to use it for. So you're gonna just kind of need to gauge it for your project, whatever you're doing. Figure out the size that you want it to be. Now keep in mind that half of the bow, like if I'm doing half of the bow 6 inches, it's gonna be 12. So it's gonna be fairly large. So I'm debating, y'all. I think I'm gonna move it back to about 5 inches. So it'll be 10 inches across. That's my internal debate right now. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna measure it out to where it's about 5 inches on this side. When you get to the center, you need to twist it. That's the part, for whatever reason, that hangs people up. It's not hard. You do a half of a twist and then push that down into your machine. Not really machine, holder, we'll call it. And so then over here, you're gonna have this side up. Okay, so then I'm gonna measure out to where I want it to be. I'm gonna keep doing this over and over again until I get the number of loops I need. I think for this one, I'm gonna do about 8. That's gonna give us a great, a good size bow. It's gonna give us a full bow. course, the more you add to it, see, I'm just gonna pinch and twist. The more you add, the fuller it's gonna be. The less you add, of course, the more airy it will be. It just depends what look you're going for. And you just want to kind of gauge it, make sure that your loops are staying about the same, and then just keep going. And just try to keep that ribbon as straight as you can. So I'm just eyeballing it, I'm twisting. It doesn't really matter what way you twist it, as long as you're getting it to where the correct side is down. Once you get into the habit of doing this, your twist will generally always be the same, just because that'll be the way that your hands want to turn it. And so, just keep going. Now I'm just gonna do this pretty quickly so we can get through to the next step. It's not hard. Once you get the hang of it, then you're a pro. At this style, anyway. Just keep going. The more you twist it and the more you turn it, it kind of gets a little twisty, and this part, like your slack part, will get a little hard to work with. But just try to loosen that up a bit. You can flop that roll over, and that'll help too. So how was your day, guys? What's going on today? What's everybody up to? I don't know who all is out there watching, but the main thing too, you want to keep your bow. I think that'll be okay. A little trick that if it looks like one side is starting to become a little longer than the other, when you tie it off, you can compensate for that. We're just going to scoot our tie over a little bit. And so we're almost done, I think. For this particular bow, I just want to keep my loops the same. There are different techniques that you can use that they gradually get smaller, and you know, it really just depends kind of what style of bow that you're going for as to so right now I've got one, and we'll do just a few more. Can you see what I mean? Like it starts to knot up. I really should be kind of flopping this around. That'll help to ease that up some. But I'm trying to get through this pretty quickly. I know everybody's busy. We've all got things we need to be doing. So, and that one's actually a little short. Okay. You know, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go one more, and then we will tie it off, and I'll show you how to fluff it out, and then we're done. So, it's about supper time. I'm trying to figure out what are we going to have for dinner. I don't have any idea what we'll have. I'm going to go ahead and cut this so I can get that. Oh, word. There we go. Kind of get that to where it's a little easier to work with. So just make sure that every time that you twist it, it makes make you really upset if you get to the very end and realize that you haven't done that, and some of your loops are backwards. Now I cut this a little long, and that was intentional. I'm going to go ahead and cut that there. Whoop, there it goes. Now I'm going to scooch this over a tad bit because to me it looks like one side got a little heavier, which is fine. So what we're going to do, we're just going to even that out. Now I looped this over. I don't know if you can see this. Hey Brittany, how are you? Okay, so I've got a loop here. My straight ends are on the back side. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up, pull my straight, can you see that? Pull my straight ends up, bring my loop up, and I'm gonna feed these right through there. Just make sure you catch that end. You don't want that end to slide out. Right there. Okay, so as I pull up on this hand, I'm gonna push down on this hand, and it's gonna lock that in place. So now I can pull this right out of here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it tight, and then I'm gonna separate these out. So I've got my two little ends separated out, and I'm gonna pull this. Now you can tell I can pull it really tight. I've only had these little cords snap on me a couple times. I like to pull them really super tight because it gathers up this center, gathers up all those little pieces so that it will hold your bow in shape. And I'm just gonna roll it over, tie this just in a knot on the back side. Just try to keep that tension on that wire and then pull it snug so it doesn't loosen on you. If it's too loose, all of these, where we lap those bows over, they're gonna start to kind of shimmy out of there and then you'll lose your bow. So we've got that and tied in a knot. So this is all good and secure now. It's gonna hold its place and it's good. I don't know if you can see, like that is super tight. That's gonna hold its form. Now, if I wanted to add tails at this point, which I don't really need them for what this bow will be for, I would go ahead, this extra piece I cut long a minute ago, I would go ahead, we're gonna dovetail those ends, so I'm just gonna fold it over on top of itself, and then I'm gonna fold it in half long ways, and then I'm gonna cut it from the inside to the outside at an angle downward, and this is just gonna give us a finished edge so that ribbon looks like we really put some extra thought into it and we finish that out nice and clean. So if I wanted to add this, I would just find, I don't usually like to do it like right smack in the middle. I like to do it off center just a little bit so that my tails are a little uneven. I think that looks cute. And so I would go ahead and just take my tie right here. I would tie that on, and then my tail would be there. But I don't need them right now, so I'm not gonna do that. All right, so I'm gonna find the back, and now we just need to fluff out our bow. I usually wrap this around my finger so I can hold it pretty snug. And then this guy, we will try to hold that to the back, but we'll move that out. If we need to snip it off a little more, we can. So we just need to fluff this out because we want it to look like this one. And it's pretty airy, really. To me, a lot of times you could add more loops and kind of fill in those gaps, but for what these are for, this really will be best. So that's what we're going for. It just takes working with it. So you pull them up and kind of give them a little twist and then fluff them out. And then you just work them around until you like where they're going. And you know, you'll kind of get in this space where you're like, oh, this is not coming out. Keep working. I start from the center. Some people start from the back. I pull them up and I give them a little twist. And I pull them up and I give them a little twist. Pull it around, like where you start to see a gap. Pull it around, give it a little twist, and that's gonna help it to pop up. And then just fluff them out. You can see it starting to take its shape. I've got these, so I'm gonna pull it up, spin it around, give it a little twist, and you can start to see it's taking its shape now. And pull these out and just fluff them up. Pull them up. And then do the same over here, and you can tell this is gonna turn out really cute. And you can always move them and make them go wherever you think, you know, if it looks like there's a hole in one spot, just kind of manipulate the ribbon however you think it needs to go. That's actually coming out really well. You know, sometimes I've really flopped on these, and I just, you know, if I can't shape it and get it the way I want it to look, I just cut this little back tie right there and I start over. you know, just try to figure out why it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. I will say, as far as ribbon goes, you know, quality plays a big part. You know, there are ribbons you can get that are inexpensive and they're thinner and they don't always hold their shape as well. But there are some that are, you know, a little more pricey that do. But, you know, really it's all about feel. You just need a feel of it. Figure out, you know, does it feel like it's a good quality? Sometimes I've found some that are really inexpensive that are great quality. It just depends. Feel of them before you buy them. Make sure they feel the way you want it to. But get what you can afford and get to crafting. Start, you know, just start trying to learn how. Don't let, you know, if you can afford a $1 ribbon from Dollar Tree, go get it and start learning. That's how you have to learn, is just by doing. So I think that looks pretty stinking cute right there. And especially for Easter, this is a great little ribbon I found, and I love it. And so these will be super cute. This one's a little smaller than this one, and that's what we were going for. But that's how I do a bow with a Bowdabra. So now my camera's crooked again, sorry. But anyway, Brittany, thanks for watching. And you guys let me know if you have any questions. If you have anything that that I know how to do that I can maybe help you. If you're struggling with something, let me know. And I'm happy to give you what I've got anyway. But that's all I've got for today. So we will see you next time. Bye, guys.